Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. And in this video, I'm going to be going over this US bank review. So this video is going to be particularly useful for individuals who are deciding whether or not to bank with US Bank. And so I've been banking with US Bank for about 3 years now, and I must say that it's a definitely solid regional bank with decent services, but here are some things that you have to be aware about. Now let's start off with the pros. With US Bank, you do get access to a pretty good ATM network, especially if you're in the Midwest or West Coast. Plus, their mobile app is extremely user friendly, and their customer service is generally better than the other bigger national banks because, in my opinion, they're too popular. But the downside is that if you're not in their coverage area, you might have limited branch access, and their interest rates on their savings accounts are also pretty low. Now, the biggest cons of US Bank, though, is that although their services are decent, you do have to deal with monthly maintenance fees on most accounts. And what I mean by that is if you don't maintain a minimum balance in their checking account in US Bank, or meet certain requirements, you're going to get hit with fees every month. So some months I avoid the fees by keeping enough money in my account. Other months I've been charged like $15 for falling below the minimum with US Bank. I think the most I've been charged with fees was only like $15 in 1 month, but I've also had months, which is usual, where I don't get charged anything. Other things with US Bank that I didn't like or don't like currently is that their credit rewards program isn't as competitive as other banks. And sometimes their branches can have long wait times, especially during busy periods. And unlike online banks that offer high interest rates, US Bank's savings rates are basically nothing, so your money isn't growing if you just leave it in there. Now, with US Bank though, one thing to keep in mind is that you do have to take into account their fee structure and make sure you understand all the requirements to avoid those monthly charges. So you need to either maintain a minimum balance, or you need to set up direct deposits, or use their services enough to qualify for fee waivers. Otherwise, those monthly fees can really add up over time. Now, with US Bank, there can be some inconsistency in customer service depending on which branch you go to. So my recommendation is that you try to do most of your banking online or through their app because it's usually faster and more reliable. For me, for example, I rarely go into branches anymore because I can do at most everything through their mobile app. Now, here are my 3 tips for people who want to try US Bank. First tip is make sure to understand their fee structure and set up direct deposit, or maintain the minimum balance to avoid monthly fees. I learned this the hard way when I got charged fees for several months before I realized that I could actually avoid them by setting up direct deposit for my job. Second tip is take advantage of their relationship banking benefits because if you have multiple accounts with them, like a checking account, savings account, and a credit card, you can get better rates and fee waivers. I found that having multiple products with them actually made the banking relationship more valuable and cost effective. Third tip is use their mobile app for most of your banking needs because their branches are slow and their phone customer service can be very slow as well. The app is actually pretty good and you can do deposits, transfers, and most account management tasks without having to deal with people. My rule is I only go to branches for things that are absolutely necessary in person. But with US Bank though, I'd say it's been a pretty decent experience overall. They're not the most exciting bank, but they're reliable and their services work as advertised. And US Bank customer service is generally helpful when you need to get through with them. I've never had any major issues with security or my accounts. So with that being said, if you're considering joining US Bank, I'd say just try it out. You won't know until you try it, especially if you're in an area where they have good branch coverage. But make sure you understand their fees and requirements. And I hope you found this video helpful, guys. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below.